I'd like to give honor to God tonight, from whom all blessings flow. I give honor to all the clergy, men and women that are present tonight. I certainly give honor to my pastor and to Pastor Towns, to the board of directors, the faculty and staff at Cornerstone Academy, and to all of you who make up this assembly. It is a great honor and a privilege for me to stand before you tonight. I would like to thank Mr. Wilkes and the program coordinator, Ms. Karen Clapp, for allowing me this opportunity. You could have chosen anyone, but I thank you for selecting me. This is a very special and exciting occasion for me tonight because tonight I have a chance to stand as an advocate and give back to this great Cornerstone Academy, an organization that I believe is a true gift from God to the city of Chicago. Over 17 years ago, I attended Prosser Vocational High School on the northwest side of Chicago. As a 14 or 15-year-old, I was a very mischievous teen. I was involved with gangs, the sale and use of marijuana. I was very committed to never complete a full day of school. So I cut classes every day, so much so that by the end of my freshman year, I had missed approximately 70 days. I was surely on a path of destruction. As a result of my behavior, my absences from school, I was expelled from Prosser in my sophomore year. My mother, who was determined to not give up on me, enrolled me in Cornerstone Academy in 1995. Initially, I thought that this would be an easier way for me to continue to pursue the riotous life that I had become so accustomed to. But at Cornerstone Academy, a big difference was made in my life. In the 3 years that I attended the academy, there were many profound things that had great impact on my life. I would like to share 3 of those things with you tonight. At Cornerstone, I experienced a staff of teachers that showed me compassion and had genuine concern for their students. At Cornerstone Academy, for the first time in a school setting, I was embraced by a staff that taught me family principles by showing me love, the kind of love that one would only expect to receive from his or her biological family. And the third thing that stood out to me about Cornerstone and my experience as a student was that I was nurtured by a staff who thought it was important enough to make Bible studies and the knowledge of God be a part of the curriculum. I would like to share a brief example of each of these points. I mentioned passion and concern because on the first day that I was to attend Cornerstone Academy, I believe school started at about 8:30 or 9 o'clock at the time. And for some reason, I was not there when school started. And somewhere between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., my doorbell rang, and I went downstairs to answer the door. And who was standing there? None other than Mr. Bill Sykes. Mr. Sykes said to me, "Are you Delano Lee?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, with a big smile and great enthusiasm, "Well, come on, school started an hour ago." And to me, that showed great passion and genuine concern. Then after being at Cornerstone for a short period of time, I learned that this school was more than just a regular alternative school. It was more than just a staff of people who were great educators. It was a staff of people who really had purpose. The staff came up with many innovative ideas to encourage their students to be on time, and they took time to fellowship with us. One of the things that I remember well is when the Academy would sponsor breakfast for the staff and the students. Breakfast time was a time where students and staff could come together, socialize, bond together, and this brought us closer together. It gave us an opportunity to learn more about each other, and that created a warm, family-like environment, an environment that's very conducive for the learning experience. And finally, the Academy offered another very important element, an element that has remained to be one of the most important experiences in my life. It was the study of the Holy Bible and chapel services. The study of the Holy Bible and chapel services was a time where pastors and other clergymen and women would come and teach us lessons from the Bible. There's one lesson that really sticks out in my mind. It's found in the book of Luke. It's the story of the prodigal son. The prodigal son was a young man who was the son of a very wealthy king. This young man went out to his father and requested his portions of an inheritance that he was only entitled to after his father would die. His father granted him this request, and the young man took his inheritance and went out into the world and began to live a riotous life. He would eventually waste all of this inheritance and find himself poor, homeless, so much so that he would have to live amongst hogs and eat the same as pigs did. Until one day the young man came to his senses and remembered that his father was rich and that even the servants at his father's house had good food, good clothes, and shelter. And so the young man decided that he would go back home to his father. And what really intrigued me about this story is that when the young man was approaching his father's house, he found that his father was waiting on him with open arms. It was lessons like this that helped me to begin to understand the relationship between man and our Heavenly Father. And I began to understand that because I had went down the wrong road and that things was looking bad for me before I came to Cornerstone, that my life could be redeemed through a relationship with my Heavenly Father. And so I began to understand that. And when I was asked the question, what is it about Cornerstone that was different, that made you commit to want to earn your high school diploma and strive to be a better person? And my answer is, it was the total experience of Cornerstone. It was the teachers, the curriculum, and all of the other meaningful events that occurred in my time at the Academy. But if I had to describe it all in one word, I would have to say it was the love that I felt. I say love because Cornerstone experience was more than just a place where skillful and knowledgeable teachers came to share information with students that didn't do well in public school. You see, with knowledge, it's easy to pass on information and give instructions to others. And with knowledge, you can equip others with helpful tools needed for the purpose of furthering education. But I believe it takes something stronger and deeper than just knowledge to make the kinds of sacrifices that the staff made at Cornerstone Academy for students like me and the other students that we heard tonight. I believe to the bottom of my heart that it took love and compassion from this staff and a sense of a higher calling to do what this school does. To show up at a young black male's house in the heart of the west side of Chicago where drugs and gang violence and murder is running rapid, as Mr. Sykes did for me. It takes more than just mere knowledge to do that. There was sacrifice, there was time, effort, and there was a great investment in the life of a young man who probably would have been dead today if it wasn't for the Academy. To sacrifice your time, your talent, and your treasure into the lives of students who didn't make it in public school. To promote family values and instill godly principles into kids who come from broken homes and from the roughest parts of the city, in my opinion, is divine. And I believe it took love and a sense of a high calling to allow prayer and Bible principles, spiritual growth to be a part of the requirement of students who attended Cornerstone Academy. In closing, I want to say that I salute the board of directors at Cornerstone. I salute my principal, Mr. Jim Wilkes, Mr. Bill Sykes, Mr. Jim Haney, Mrs. Peggy Snowden, Mrs. Denise Westmoreland, and the entire faculty and staff at Cornerstone, all the sponsors, and everyone who is responsible for the existence of this great organization. It's because of people like you that a young man like myself went from a student who missed nearly 70 days in one school year, failing all subjects, trailing down the road to destruction, to become a young man who graduated on the honor roll, earned his high school diploma, had some college education, earned a certificate in the trade of building maintenance. Today, I am married, I have a family, I've been an active member of my church for 9 years. In January 2011, I was ordained deacon at First Paradise Missionary Baptist Church. I am active in my community. Thank you. Thank you. And so today I stand as a product and prayerfully a testament of the quality of education and life tools given at Cornerstone. I am excited about the future of Cornerstone because there are many more young men and women like those of us students that made it through Cornerstone that needs this school. And so my hope and prayer is that we will all take on the spirit of this great organization and choose to invest in the lives of troubled children like Delano Lee. I thank you all, and God bless you.